Tonight at the Game Awards, we come together as a community to celebrate video games, the most compelling and immersive form of entertainment in the world.
One of my favorite aspects of console video gaming is the constant tug of war that comes from the proliferation of these machines. Many console gamers take to a certain brand and stick to it from generation to generation, but this isn't always the case. And the dominance for one particular console family between generations is rarely ever carried over. There are only two instances in history actually that this has happened. The SNES from the NES and the PlayStation 2 from the PlayStation. Now I love looking over and analyzing these things with the benefit of hindsight, but the thing that I like to do even more is try to predict how the upcoming console wars will go. Each brand has their own claim to the throne for the upcoming generation. Nintendo has left behind the shadow of the tremendous failure that was the Wii U with their Switch. Sony has dominated the current landscape with the PS4 and shows almost no signs of stopping. It is Microsoft, however, that I find the most fascinating. Microsoft performed admirably with the Xbox 360 and then misread the tea leaves with the Xbox One. Since then, they have made important moves to set themselves up for success with the coming set of consoles. It's because of this and other factors that I believe it is Microsoft that is most poised to win the next console war. Let's first start with a quick look at Xbox over its short lifespan. The brand was launched in November of 2001, just over a year after the launch of the juggernaut PS2. While PS2 would dominate with its inclusion of a stellar lineup of games and the built-in DVD player, Xbox would showcase more foresight than its competitor. The Xbox launched with a built-in 2GB hard drive, a then current PC processor, and an integrated Ethernet port. It's that last feature that would lead to possibly the biggest innovation of console gaming in Xbox Live. It can't be understated just how much of an impact Xbox Live had on the console gaming landscape. While both the Sega Dreamcast and the PlayStation 2 had an online presence, neither would match what Microsoft would accomplish. During the development of the system, Microsoft knew that they would implement an online service, but took a gamble on making the service depend on the, as of then, small base of broadband users. The gamble paid off, with allowing users to access all new content for their favorite online games, as well as much better connection to servers than the dial-up option offered on the Dreamcast. On top of this, Xbox Live Arcade was launched in November 2004, allowing Xbox Live users to purchase content online for the first time on home consoles. While Dreamcast and Sony played catch-up on the online front, the Xbox brand was blazing trails. This ultimately would not dethrone PS2 from its stranglehold on the generation, but it did put Microsoft and the Xbox in the best possible position to become the king of the next installation of the console wars. Xbox 360, the follow-up to the Xbox, launched in November of 2005 to huge buzz. Not only did Xbox Live already exist, it was vastly revamped to include music and movies as content for purchase and offered a much improved interface for users. It would also include an achievement system to reward players. The HD era was on the horizon as well, and the inclusion of an HDMI port set the 360 up for success. However, a massive technical issue, known commonly as the Red Ring of Death, caused Xbox to stumble out of the gate. Warranties were extended and massive amounts of repairs/replacements were issued to combat the issue. This didn't quite kill the success of the 360. It did, however, stymie its quest to be the unquestioned leader of the generation. Nintendo would take that title with the smash hit Wii. The 360's chief competitor, the PS3, had similar growing pains to the 360. Sony came out of the gate with an unabashed arrogance, the stench of which would not dissipate until the near end of the console's lifecycle. While 360 would sit solidly in the middle of the race for dominance, its innovations on the digital front would become the standard across the industry, and would make the coming generation that much more disappointing. The Xbox One, launched in November 2013, was a marketing disaster out of the gate. The reveal in May of 2013 showcased a Microsoft completely misreading the future, something the console manufacturer had really done sparingly in its tenure in the console space. Instead of being focused on gaming, the One was instead meant to be an entertainment hub. The reveal focused on television and sports and movies, and then more sports, and then some games, and then more television, and more sports, and Call of Duty, then more television. It was an unfocused mess of a reveal that showed the weakness in Microsoft's management of the Xbox brand. These shortcomings would give the PlayStation 4 all the fire it would need to jump out to an extraordinary lead, and it wouldn't be until partway through the console's lifespan that a change in management and messaging would begin to breathe life into the Xbox brand. It's this landscape in which we currently find ourselves. PS4s have trounced Xbox Ones in sales 2-1. Nintendo has introduced its hybrid console, the Switch, to huge success, and Xbox is steadily chugging along, trying to turn the ship around in the right direction. So with Sony standing atop the hill and Nintendo carving out its own unique path, why is it that I think Microsoft is poised to win the next generation? Well, it has a little to do with Microsoft, and it has a little to do with what their competitors are doing. So let's first talk about Sony and Nintendo. Sony, to their credit, has been pretty much hyper-focused on creating an ecosystem that has nothing but great games. They came out of the gate saying that the PlayStation 4 was the best place to play games, and when it comes to their exclusive titles, this is 100% true. The first-party output is absolutely unmatched in quality. Then they orchestrated a giant coup in getting Activision to pair the two biggest franchises of Call of Duty and Destiny with their console. Really though, that's where they stopped. PSN name changes still aren't a thing, at least not in a viable sense. They have not implemented backwards compatibility, but released titles on PlayStation Now, which was meant to be innovative, but is a disaster and has an unbelievably muddled pricing structure. Until very recently, they remained steadfast in their opposition to cross-platform play, and even though they are now allowing it, this service is only with select games that Sony deems worthy. PSVR seems to have sold well, but it also seems like an afterthought to Sony. PlayStation really has failed to innovate, and it seems to me that they have shifted back from their consumer-friendly, gamer-focused PS4 launch to the arrogant industry leaders that joked about needing a second job just to own a PS3. Look no further than their E3 press conference of 2018. It showed Sony saying that we care less about the content we present and more about our image as something special. Sony truly believes they are the only place worth playing, and that has led to a hubris that could lead to their ultimate downfall in the next console war. Nintendo, on the other hand, has done the exact opposite. They have made every single attempt to return to the Nintendo of old. The Switch has been a rousing success. Third-party developers have been welcomed back to the platform, and indie developers are being encouraged to release their games in droves. Highly popular games released on the PS4 and the Xbox One have received the ability to be played mobile with the Switch. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey are impeccable games and two of the best received franchises that Nintendo has to offer. The problem that Nintendo faces is its inability to meet the power of the new consoles. Many will say that that isn't an issue, and while this could be true, it certainly stymies the market that you can appeal to. The Switch, as it stands, isn't as powerful as either the Xbox One or the PS4. Games such as Doom and Wolfenstein operate at lesser states than their native platforms. What's that to say of the games that will be running on true 4K systems next generation? Nintendo's online service is also beyond lackluster, but when compared to the likes of PSN and Xbox Live, it is even more lackluster of a service. Unfortunately, it's this unwillingness or inability to modernize that will lead to Nintendo's downfall. So what exactly makes Microsoft so special then? Well, after the ouster of Don Matrick as the head of Xbox, Microsoft needed to find someone to head the division that really just, got it. And they landed on the perfect guy in Phil Spencer. Under his direction, the Xbox brand has been reconstructed from the ground up. The new focus on games is refreshing compared to the original messaging of entertainment. On top of that, Spencer has made it known that his vision of Xbox has a giant focus on gamers. Under Spencer, Xbox has looked into new technologies that look to further gameplay, like their development of cloud computing technology. They have also opened up the possibility of cross-platform play with competitors and their inclusion to play anywhere from Microsoft-published games. On top of these actions, Xbox has made a number of overwhelmingly consumer-friendly moves. In 2015, Xbox introduced the single-handed biggest announcement of E3 that year in backwards compatibility. Then in 2017, they announced Xbox Game Pass, a Netflix-like service for games which allowed users to download the games offered and play them for an incredibly low cost. Adding to that move, Microsoft made it possible for some games, including AAA titles, to launch on that service alongside their retail launches. Xbox has been rightly maligned for their lack of truly great first-party AAA exclusives, And at the 2018 E3, Microsoft announced the acquisition or building of 5 new studios, including the brilliant team at Ninja Theory, to combat that fatal flaw. And since then, they have purchased another top-notch studio, Obsidian Entertainment. The newest news of both Xbox Live and Game Pass coming to the Nintendo Switch is even more incredible. Xbox has continually showed a forward-thinking approach to the next generation that I think is unparalleled. The console wars are always fun to behold from the point of view of the gamer. Every generation has a unique struggle within it, and almost always has a winner from a different family of consoles. The initial struggle of the SNES and the Genesis was immediately noteworthy because at the time, no one had actually managed to challenge Nintendo for the throne of console king. Each war that followed varied in intensity and length, and even competition, but perhaps none would ever capture that same spirit. The upcoming war has the chance to capture that magic again. All 3 hardware manufacturers have a strong claim to the throne for varying reasons. What ends up happening is anyone's guess, but I think that the future looks incredibly bright for Microsoft. Having never been the champion, it's going to be especially hard for them. But with all things considered, I think Microsoft and Xbox should easily be considered the frontrunner to take the crown. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so then you're notified on all of the content released on the Culture Pop channel. Also, don't forget to share this channel with your friends so that then they can also enjoy all the content that Culture Pop has to offer.